some opinion on that or point you to resources. I was hoping to use Adobe Spark today. I wanted to learn how to use a new program, but Adobe's servers or their cloud is currently down right now, so I'm not able to do that. So I have pulled the links from my presentation up, so it'll look a little more like scrolling between different links, but we'll be good and able to do that. And Carolyn has put the links to the presentation under that place where you signed up on the Wellbama website. So those are all there. So if you don't mind, if I could, in the chat, could you tell me if you're getting outside right now or some places you've been able to recreate outside? That can be as simple as your yard, your friend's yard. The river walk is one of my favorite places to go in town. We've got 2 of them. We're really fortunate. If you could put that in there, I'd love to see what you're doing with that. Today by talking about Leave No Trace presentation. You can be woke on Leave No Trace principles. I'll say LNT for that sometimes to shorten it. So if you have a question on that, just let me know. But with that, like, we are equipping you with knowledge. We're not equipping you to be mean to people. Sometimes people are turned off by overly outdoorsy people because they want you to do things a certain way. Instead, this is a way for you to teach people and to keep the places that we love really safe and beautiful. So this is Leave No Trace's website. They offer master trainers. They come and talk to local groups like Boy Scouts or outdoor clubs. The first ethic is going to be to plan ahead and prepare. You're going to want to plan ahead and prepare in a couple different ways, but the goal is that you don't have to bring more stuff than you need sometimes. So if you're going backpacking for several days and you take 10 days worth of food for a 5-day trip, your back's going to hurt. You're not going to be as prepared as you want to be, and there's going to be a lot more temptation to leave trash places. Traveling, camping on durable surfaces. What that will look like for most of us is using pre-existing trails. So if you can see a path in the woods, if you can see a place to camp on that's marked out at most of our state parks here, that's going to be the ideal place to camp or set your foot. Sometimes, like, I like to think of the outdoors as kind of a museum. So you kind of follow that pathway and you'll look at stuff, and it allows you to see untouched things and to keep the outdoors a little more pristine. You still want to be able to, like, traipse around and have that freedom that you see in this picture here, but you want to do that by picking places strategically. So spreading your group out so we're not all stepping on the same vegetation, or picking areas that have things that are more like rocks instead of walking through all the grass. You want to dispose of waste properly. This is a huge one that we can all help with. Right now, if you go to some of the parks around us, there's just not enough staff because of COVID-19 working. So I know in some of the city parks, the Northport Riverwalk right now, they haven't been able to pick up the trash. So bringing a Walmart bag with you so that you can throw that trash away is really helpful. I also, if anyone is friends with anyone from Parks and Rec Tuscaloosa, they've done an excellent job of collecting trash. If you could give them a thank you for me, I'd appreciate that. The next thing is going to be leave what you find. The case that we hear about a lot is take pictures, leave footprints. So if you are going to the beach and you find a really cool shell, the idea is that you leave that shell where you find it, or if you find an arrowhead or a really cool piece of wood on the trail, you want to leave that so somebody else can have that same experience. It's, depending on who you're talking to, it's totally okay to pick that up, look at it, inspect it. We all think that's really cool. But if you take that with you, we're slowly taking away from our environment instead of letting someone else have that, as well as it has impacts down the road with ecology and biology. Minimizing campfire impacts. So right here, you'll see someone using an existing fire ring or an existing kind of like grill or something you'd have in your backyard. A lot of state parks have this, a lot of campsites will have this, or you'll see something with rocks in a circle. If you're gonna make a big fire with logs, you wanna bring wood that's from that area, so buy the wood locally. A lot of campsites also have it. Alabama State Park System's really good about it. Or bring a gas stove. A lot of times when we plan for outdoor recreation trips, we are gonna be using small stoves or Coleman stoves, and that prevents the land being scarred by a big stove, or it decreases your risk of forest fires. respect wildlife. I'm going to teach all the thumb rule. So if you can look around your office, your house, wherever you're at right now, find a chair, a plant, a coffee table, and then you're going to want to hold your thumb out with your elbows straight and try to look at whatever item you're looking at. And if you can see the item, so if it's a chair and you can see it around your thumb, that means you're too close to that item if you're an animal. So what I use this trick for is if I see a deer in the woods, and this is not an exact science, obviously, I put my thumb up, and if I can see any of the deer behind my thumb, that's a good idea that I'm too close to that animal. This also works well if you have young children because their thumbs are smaller and you probably want them even further away from the animal. Animals, we are coming into their habitat, and we want to respect that habitat for what it is. We don't want to make them angry or put them in a situation that's not unsafe. So that's just a good safety rule of thumb. But honestly, pretend like that animal could hurt you no matter what and get as far away from it as you can because you want to give them the space that they need. Chances are there's very few animal encounters and animal attacks, especially in this area of the country. You typically don't have to worry about that if you're packing up your food where you can't smell it and you're not leaving a ton of trash around. Also, with respecting wildlife, we don't want to throw trash on the ground or have bits of food left to waste, even if it is like an orange peel or an apple. That animal may not be used to that type of food, so that's a way that we can respect that wildlife. Our final and seventh leave no trace principle is going to be considerate of others. A lot of times with groups, this is going to mean not having a super large group. Backpacking groups, we typically suggest not doing more than 8 to 12 because if you see this nice pristine trail here, more than a certain amount of people is going to cause more erosion. You're going to end up with a big loud group, and that's not cool to people who are outside and trying to have this experience with nature, and now they've got all this loud sound. And with that, we ask that if you are going to be listening to music, which is totally fine, I love listening to podcasts when I go biking or running or whatnot, is that you wear headphones so that other people can enjoy the natural sounds if that's what they're choosing to do. This can be really confusing sometimes to people when they go from climbing in a gym where there's usually a lot of loud music. It's a great place to learn about new bands. But then you go outside to go climbing and music is typically not part of that scene outside. So when you're going outside, I do want to make suggestions on what you should be bringing with you. So you always want to bring water, and I would suggest bringing water in your car as a backup as well. It could be a good habit to buy a jug of water that sits in your car, but you want extra right now because some places water fountains are not open, or it's probably not a good idea when we've got a virus or a pandemic to get water from a local source. I want to suggest sunscreen. We all know that on cloudy days, it can be even more likely to get sunburn. For me, I hate putting on sunscreen, but I know that if I wear long sleeves and wear a hat, I can mitigate that a little and wear less sunscreen, so that's helpful to me. And then sunglasses as well. I really want to hit home for those of y'all that recreate outside in the Southeast that you should learn what a tick looks like. We have students that get ticks a lot from Lake Nickel and Lake Harris. One that had a very bad experience with that. Know that they are in our area. I grew up in North Florida and we didn't see them as much, or maybe I was just totally unaware as a child, but in Alabama it is important to know what ticks look like and to use bug spray. And then it's great to bring toilet paper right now. A lot of parks have closed bathrooms, so you never know when you'll be in a situation you aren't prepared for. And then I want to bring up the bag of trash again. So grab a Walmart bag with you, throw it in the side pocket of your bag, and that'll help you either pick up trash if you see it, or if you have trash as you're going, make trash, you can bring it out with you. And then this is a good one as well. Tell someone else where you're going, whether that's a roommate, a coworker, a friend. Let someone know, like, hey, I'm going to this park today and I'm going for X amount of hours. And that way they can call and check up with you in the day. The story that we always tell our students is there was a caving group that was from a university. They were in a well-known cave. One kid got separated and they had driven in separate cars, but it took 3 days for the student to know, or for people to know that the student was still locked in the cave. because he didn't tell people where he was going. Also, the group didn't check. There were a lot of things that went wrong there and a lot of things that our program checked so that that doesn't happen. But when you live in a situation where your roommate and you aren't very close, you travel a lot for work, it is good for people, especially in those situations where life can be more transitory, to know like, hey, I haven't seen this person in 2 days, or it's about to be the weekend. And then another one is to take a picture of the map. Sokol Park is one of my favorite places to go to. It's also the place I've gotten most lost. It's not a huge chunk of land by any means, and I don't think I was ever in any danger. But in the parking lot, there's literally a place with a map. You can take a picture of it on your phone, or you can screenshot most places before you go somewhere and have that picture of the map on the phone to help you. And that's an easy way to avoid being in an undesirable situation. Also, if you get lost at Sokol, you can usually see where houses are, and you can just walk off trail in that direction. But not all places, unfortunately, are like that. So if you could, I want you to take a second and think of some things that are part of your daily life right now. For me, it's checking emails, it's reading articles, webinars, calling friends and family. I'm thinking of hobbies that I do, reading a book, working out. If you could post those in the chat. Sweet. So one of the things I want to do in this presentation, and one of my goals, is to help you get outside in a sustainable way. So it's not that you're necessarily going on all the hikes in Alabama, or you're going out of state to go on some rad outdoor trip. It's how can we get you outside once a week more, or having a regular time that you spend outside. So for me, exercise is a big way that I get outside, and that's kind of how I got introduced to the outdoors. So what exercises do you have that you can do outdoors? You don't have to have fancy equipment to do this. I don't even own a yoga mat right now, and I'm pretty sure they're hard to get a hold of. But I have an old shower curtain that has a cute pattern, and I didn't throw it away. So I take that outside almost like a picnic blanket, and you can do yoga or sit-ups or crunches or all sorts of exercises outside. And you can also bring weights outside pretty easily. I'm not sure how many of y'all have been to, oh gracious, I'm forgetting the park name. It's not so cool. I'll get it to you at the end of this presentation. But it's the park by 65 off McFarland. It's absolutely beautiful, and they've got a really great outdoor equipment thing. I'll look at it when we go to Para's park website. But they have an outdoor workout space for adults. It looks like a playground, but it's bright pink and yellow, and there's bars that you can do pull-ups on, and you can move side to side in a little grid pattern. And then there's places where you can do stuff at an incline. It's a lot of body weight exercises. But getting outside is an easy one with exercise, as well as if you're just walking outside. Pretty much everything outside takes more work, especially in the Southeast with our humidity and our heat. So I suggest that. Phone calls are a great one to take outside. My last boss, Steven, took really good use of this. If you know you got a phone call with someone, or sometimes if we had to do student evals by distance, like if the semester got away from us, you can take that walk around the building and get that in, as well as just calling friends and family. I'm sure a lot of y'all are reading stuff about protocols, things for COVID-19 at work, as well as using this time for professional development. I want to suggest downloading some of that stuff on your phone, on your iPad, and reading those things outside. I'm not fortunate enough to have a backyard, but I'm fortunate enough to have a balcony as well as a grassy space where I live. So I'll take the cloth little blanket shower curtain that I have, and I'll sit outside with that and do some of my work. One thing that I found out when I was in grad school that was very helpful to me is that you can send PDFs to your Kindle. All Kindles have a specific email or email specific to them. So you go to Amazon.com, look for that, and there's lots of steps on how to do that online. And you can send articles that you're already reading for work and find a good place to do that. The Oliver Lock and Dam, when I've been over there, it's in Northport right off of Main Street. It's been very not crowded, beautiful view of the river. All you need is something to sit in. It's a great spot to do work and read stuff for work. Think about the hobbies that you have. If it is a hobby that can be done on the couch, requires minimal internet, and doesn't require a lot of gear, you can probably do it outside. So for me, I really like arts and crafts. Weaving is what I'm most interested in now. It doesn't take a ton of power or technology, so it's easy for me to bring that outside. All I pretty much need is like a tailgating chair. And then one of my favorites, TV. Netflix right now lets you download their movies to your computer. So you can use this almost to have like a personal drive-in movie experience at home. So go to those same places, find somewhere that's outside, has some shade, make sure your computer's charged, and go have a movie outside. It's a great excuse to get kids outside as well. And then news and podcasts. Right now, we all want to stay somewhat connected to the news while balancing that without not having too much news and feeling really down about it. For me, listening to the news when I'm going on a walk outside is helpful because I can still see that the sun is shining, or right now that rain is still coming down and that rain will eventually stop. And it can give us good perspective, like where we're at, like in the world, like Earth is still turning. Yes, this news is happening, but news will continue to happen, as well as rain will continue to fall, and we'll move into that next season. Bowers Park, that is where you should go if you want to do the adult workout equipment, and they have frisbee golf, and it's a beautiful place to hike. It looks like something you'd see in a bigger city, and I was embarrassed I hadn't seen it till this week. So I want to help y'all find places to get outside and kind of show y'all what my process is when I move somewhere new, live somewhere new, or just want to plan something. So I like to look at the state park system. Alabama state park system is honestly really great. The way that I look at stuff for Alabama parks is alapark.com, and then I'll look at the specific parks. And then once you find the area that you want to go to, I suggest going to their Facebook page. They are very active on Facebook. I'm not logged into Facebook right now, so I'm not going to go to their Facebook site. But this is Lake Lurleen. Lake Lurleen is literally in the backyard of Tuscaloosa. It's 20 minutes from campus up 82 or McFarland. Right now, I've heard that their little swimming access area is closed for swimming, but it's a great place to go hiking. They've got absolutely great mountain biking. And one thing that I recently learned, it is $2 with a student ID. I believe it's just for students. I'm sure a lot of you on this call may be taking classes again, so that applies to you, and they want students to know about that. They want to give more $2 entrances, or it's $4 for anyone else. And they also have I want to say it's around $40. I haven't looked it up, but their park pass is not expensive either. They are currently open for camping. They've got beautiful campsites. I don't think their playgrounds are open, but Alabama State Parks has been very good about talking about what is closed and open. So right now you can see playgrounds are closed. They're not having rentals or their nature center. They don't want large groups of more than 10. But they've still got trails, camping, you can still go fishing, and they still have boat rentals. So let's see which parks that are near us that I can suggest. Move this real quick. Cahaba State Park is very beautiful. That's an easy park to just drive to the top of the mountain there and go to the lookout areas. Chewacla, for any of y'all that may be we're not really quarantining or sheltering in place right now, but in the south part of the state, Chewacla is right outside of Auburn. They have beautiful swimming areas as well as beautiful mountain biking and hiking. DeSoto is a great place to go in the fall. Gulf State Park is going to be one of your coastal parks, and right outside the park, they've got a beautiful rail trail or private biking area that's awesome. Lurleen's our local one. And then Oak Mountain is going to be just down the road from us in Birmingham, or just south of Birmingham in the almost like Chelsea area. Almost all of their stuff is open. Great, great, great place to go. They've got everything from horseback riding to fishing to camping, mountain biking. They kind of do it all as far as the state park goes. And I think what I saw last week is a lot of the caverns or the caves are starting to open up. They were closed for a little while, but some of them have opened. Those are a great place to go in the summer. We like to say it's always good weather for caving because you are in an enclosed space, and that's helpful, and it's a really good place to go with a family if it's super duper hot outside. Blue Ridge Outdoors is a great magazine to look at. They are specifically a Southeast located magazine, and they'll do a lot of articles about good places to go, environmental news, and good reads. They're a good resource as far as looking at by sport and where you want to go. And they'll get articles on that. So this is a good like inspirational place. Now I'm looking at this. Little River Canyon's also a great place to go. My roommate said she was just there and everything was open. And they're near Birmingham as well. This is Para's website. We have the best parks and recreation program of any place I've lived. Tuscaloosa has more parks than any city in Alabama I've lived in. And they're very well kept. Para is really great about putting their stuff online. This little closed button right here has been so helpful to me in finding out stuff for COVID-19. Read more. Well, I'm having trouble pulling it up now, but they will pull up a list of parks. There it is. That are closed and what is opened and closed. Most parks, from what I've seen, are open right now, but there's limitations to it, so maybe you won't be able to rent out the gazebo at certain parks, or they're asking you not to be on the playground. But there's still a lot to do. So Bowers was the park I was talking about earlier. Great place to hike. They've got a frisbee golf course that you could literally hike in. Just make sure you're wearing bright colors and look out for other people throwing discs. I was there recently, as well as it wasn't very crowded. Sokol Park has Sokol Park North and South. They have a lot of things to do, a lot of land. A lot of people really love their dog park. Let's see what else we've got here. Hurricane Creek is one of my favorite places in Tuscaloosa. It's a great place to just wade in the water, and they've got excellent mountain biking and trails, so you can go on a little short couple-mile hike and then dip your feet in the water afterwards. When I did talk to Para last month, they did say this has been one of their most crowded locations. So with that, if you are going here, go at kind of awkward hours. So maybe midday when it's more hot, or if you're taking a day off work and looking for somewhere to go outside, this is a good one. But I have been told that social distancing has not been going well here, and try to find maybe some other places. Kentuck's a beautiful place to walk. There's a lot of other places in town, but all their information is on here, and they're just an excellent resource. Both of the river walks are currently open right now. I've not been to the Tuscaloosa one, but the Northport one has been beautiful. One of the things I did want to suggest was, if you're going to a local business looking for a way to have a nice dinner out, there are tons of picnic benches on the Tuscaloosa River Walk. It's a great way to like support a local business, do something new, get outside, and still have a lot of space. Let's see. So of the places we've talked about, Bowers, Sokol, Tannehill is right between us and Birmingham. It's a beautiful park to hike and mountain bike in. We talked about Oak Mountain. If you're into mountain biking or have just started, Cahaba River Park just opened. It is in Helena, Alabama, and it's absolutely beautiful. It does not get good cell phone service, so make sure you don't go by yourself. But they've got beautiful new bathrooms, and the trails are very smooth and beginner friendly, so that's a good one. And then I told you about the Lake Lurleen discount, so we're good on that. So some things that we want to consider with COVID-19, as we're easing up, there is less things to consider, but parks are more crowded now than ever. We've seen this with bike shops. People have kind of shifted what their ability and their work looks like, so we want to be considerate of that. So if a parking lot is full, we're going to be able to assume that the park is probably full. So it's probably best to come back at another time. So if you go out to Lake Nickel, to Lake Tuscaloosa, places I highly recommend, choose your times wisely. We just don't want to put someone in a worse situation. We want to be able to look out for our fellow man. Many parks are going to have closed bathrooms like we talked about earlier, so try to use the bathroom before, so that you're not having to use the bathroom in a place that isn't wise, or having to go into a gas station and have more touch points. Try to get your gas if you're traveling further than you would normally travel to go outdoors, or what you've been traveling in daily life. Try to get gas where you're at so you eliminate some touch points and you're not putting a lot of touch points in new towns. And then you want to avoid gateway communities. So Bishop, California has been kind of like the big example for this, as people started having more time off or more flexible work schedules. A lot of climbers went to Bishop, California, which is a small town. They don't have good hospitals or many hospitals, and it's a retiree town. So they had a big outbreak there because people were coming in and going to coffee shops, going to get food somewhere they didn't live. So just keep that in consideration. A lot of that stuff has changed now. We're starting to open again. So that's a little more back burner, but we still want to avoid retirement communities and places with an older population or places that don't have the infrastructure for more people to be there. So I wanted to leave or move into a time where we can talk about some kind of inspiration I've had and some things I wanted to share with y'all. Yosemite's Instagram, I can't fully pull this up right now. They are doing Draw with a Park Ranger. So if you have maybe 8 to 13-year-old kids that enjoy drawing, they take you through and show you how to draw different animals. It's adorable. I've kind of wanted to try it just because I enjoy doodling. You can pick up a new skill there. This was the article about social distancing. It's linked in there. Another thing that you can try and look into is becoming a little bit of a meteorologist. So James Spann has a TED Talk about how tornadoes are formed. I've got that linked for y'all on here. You can also learn clouds during this time. We talked about Oak Mountain kind of having a little bit of everything. Now is a great time to learn how to use a map and compass. You can search videos online. REI has good videos on how to use a map and compass. Map and compass are very cheap, or you can use the map and compass on your iPhone. But at Oak Mountain, the Vulcan Orienteering Club has created their own map and compass course, so you can learn how to use that. They've got the maps on here that you can print out, and you can go to Oak Mountain and there's little wooden blocks in the ground. It's honestly super cool, especially if you have like a young Boy Scout that's learning this anyway. There's a beginner course where you're on trail the whole time, use your map and compass, and you find the little wooden blocks, and they're not far from the trail and they're hidden behind shrubbery. And then there's a level 2 or advanced orienteering course where you're literally running all over the park, like through dense brush to get to things. Make sure to wear bug spray, tell someone where you're going. But that's a really cool thing. We use it for our staff training for outdoor recreation and really love it. Alabama is one of the most biodiverse states in the country and one of the most biodiverse places in the world. We've talked to a lot of people. Carolina said this too. You're watching the birds in the yard. If you want to know what that bird is, there's whatbird.com. So you can search different birds. You'll click on kind of like what the general shape of the bird is. You'll talk about where you're at, and you can find out all sorts of facts to figure out what bird is in your yard right now, which is pretty cool. Let me see if I've got my star thing. Oh, Star Walk. So we just did a cool little how to stargaze with outdoor recreation on Zoom. But the app that we used was Star Walk 2. Search Star Walk 2 free. This is the one we use. We've also got the link on here. This allows you to hold up your phone and you can see where the constellations are supposed to be. You can change your settings to where it doesn't show just a plain background. It'll show what your camera view is, and then you can also make it red light so it doesn't affect your vision as much. It's a great way to learn constellations as well as kind of view the stars where you only can see a few if you're in a highly lit area. And there's places near Moundville where you can go and do that. If you just need some inspiration, you're having a hard time getting outside or want some cool outdoor stuff to go to your email, I suggest signing up for Semi-Rad's newsletter. He sends out different inspirational things and cartoons each week. He's a good person to follow on Instagram. Not always kid appropriate, but he does a great article on thinking about washing dishes. He's very into mental health and just looking at things through a different lens. I always look forward to getting that in my email inbox each week. The Dirtbag Diaries is a podcast that I highly suggest. They switch between doing outdoor things or outdoor stories about this crazy story in the wood, or they have people submit scary Halloween stories. to being inclusive and having conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion in the outdoors. So that's a good one to look at for inspiration as well. If you just want something to listen to when you're outside, I highly suggest the Happiness Lab. It is a Yale professor talking about the basics of mental health. And it's great because it's through the lens of college students. So most of us probably work directly with college students on this. And this is a great, if you have the time now, I highly suggest it. One place that I do suggest, should have put this up at the front, the Cahaba River Society has been working really hard to make the Cahaba River a blueway. Cahaba supplies all the water for most of the water for Birmingham. It's literally between us and Birmingham. It's a huge, huge river. And they have a link on their website to their blueway. This is the river on the map. You can see us in Tuscaloosa. It kind of starts north of Birmingham and Trussville. And they've got tons of information on there. Right now it's lily season, Cahaba lilies, a lot of people go out for that. And if you click on the point in the map, it'll give you the information you need to get on the river there. And let me go back real quick. A lot of people are going to be putting on the river in like the Birmingham Mountain Brook area. There's a couple sections there. The section that a lot of people do is downriver of the Moon River section. I did the Moon River section recently and had to bail on it because it was a little too gnarly. So don't suggest that one. I'm going to hopefully put a review on Google or somewhere where someone can see it. But below the Moon River taken, I think it's the Oxmoor one, is a very great place to go. If you have kids, this is a great little yoga for kids in the garden thing. So there's a couple poses that you can teach kids if you're trying to get them outside to kind of get them more involved in the outdoors, as well as get some good stretches in and have some mindfulness about things that you would already see in the garden. And then before you leave, I just want to plug our program and show you where resources are to get in touch with us. If you just want to get my information, you can go to our Meet the Staff section on our Meet the Staff page. Or you can specifically go to outdoors. We have roughly 200 rental bikes. Right now we are closed. We're not able to offer any of these services, but we hope to do that soon. But we offer monthly bike rentals. They're very cheap and sustainable and great way to get around campus or town. We have students that literally will rent them for one class and they'll keep it on campus, and those bikes come with locks. We can help you with bike registration, so can parking services. We have a super great bike shop. I call it the kind of like a beta hair school model, where we have student mechanics. They are learning how to work on bikes. So it's going to be very cheap, but we want to know if we missed anything, and we're very welcome to learn. So we are experts in working on entry-level bikes you buy from Walmart or Target or from surplus. We are ready and happy to take your bike and help you get it fixed for as cheap as possible. We have 2 climbing walls on campus. Our bigger wall is going to be at the Robert E. Witt Center, and then we're going to have a smaller wall at the Student Recreation Center. They're both absolutely beautiful. They are set by students and changing all the time. It's a great place to meet friends, or if you have a student that is having trouble finding community, it's an easy place to show up. It's a partner sport, great place to send students, and it's open to all adults too. We have equipment rentals, so we rent everything from kayaks, stand-up paddle boards that are inflatable and fit in your car, backpacking equipment. We rent bikes, so monthly bikes as well as mountain bikes and road bikes. We have some maps right here, and then we provide trips and clinics. So we offer trips all throughout the Southeast. We provide the instruction that you need, the gear that you need, and the food. And all of our services are open up to the general public too. You do not need a gym membership to rent our equipment or go on our trips. The only membership you need is to visit our bouldering and climbing walls. My info, let me go on here so you can see it. mnduggan@ua.edu if you want to get in contact with me. If you have questions about outdoor stuff at the University of Alabama, if you are somewhere else like Georgia and want to know good places to go, or your family does, feel free to email me, as well as outdoor.recreation@ua.edu. Thank you all very much, and let me know if you have any questions.
Malia, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
The Cahaba River, you mentioned that you've been on that before. This is a silly question, but can you take like paddle boards and kayaks? What does it look like? Is it big like that? Like our river that runs through town, or is it smaller, shallow?
That's a great question. I would say it's probably around 15 to 20 feet wide. It's very rain dependent river because it's not dam controlled where we're at, or maybe even at all. I prefer to take stand up paddle boards because there's a lot of sections if it hasn't rained a lot that you'll want to walk around. So I have done it in a canoe multiple times. Canoe is great when the water levels are good and it's been raining. But if I don't know what the weather's going to look like, I'm going to plan to bring a paddleboard because I can step off of it. Always wear shoes when you're doing it that can get wet and walk around, or with a canoe. If you get to it, like you hear loud gurgling water, you can walk that canoe or whatever craft that you're in around. But it's a beautiful spot. There's actually a couple places to go tubing too around Bessemer, where they'll even drive you on the shuttle.
What's the closest put-in spot
Hmm.
from here, or the best,
Yeah,
I guess you could say?
it's going to be like that Bessemer area, or you can exit. Oh, where's the serial podcast? It starts with a B. Like Centerville area. There's some put-ins over.
Is it Brookwood?
Not Brookwood. The next B one. It's from S Town. It's what that is about.
Oh,
Blockton area.
okay, gotcha.
So they've got some put-ins there, and people go to watch the lilies over there.
Okay,
But there's also Cahaba National Wildlife Refuge exit on I-20. And so you'll follow a map, get through there, and you'll find some kiosks, like big wooden signs will be out there. A couple places you just have to check that you're not getting out on private land.
okay. So you can just turn around, and if you've paddleboard, you can turn around. The current's not too bad to come back up on a paddleboard.
Um, it's a little too shallow to come back at, but as long as you have two cars, you
Okay.
can park one in one section and park one at the other and drive back, and it's not too bad. If you want to just like paddle around in a kayak or a canoe, like Lake Nickel or Lake Tuscaloosa are going to be easier locations.
Okay. Okay, good. Very good. That's something
Yeah,
I hadn't considered. So,
awesome. Well, if y'all don't have any questions, I really appreciate it, and thanks for the opportunity.
thank you. We appreciate it, and this will be recorded, and we'll post this on our website so anybody can view it later.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all. Have a good one.
Thank you.